All right, we're with head coach of the women's soccer team, Chase Wooten. Coach, last week you guys had a bit of an up and down weekend. You got a game-winning goal late against Lindenwood, but then you had your first loss of the season against Truman. Kind of take us through about both games.
It was a long week going into it. The Lindenwood game, I thought we were the better team of the game. Probably should have had the game won before the last minute of the game. We got shot on 18-1 in the first half, and I'm not a huge stats person, but in the grand scheme of things, I think the tempo was there. And we just didn't execute as well as we have been around the box, and that haunted us and allowed them to kind of stay in the game. They had a good counterattack goal midway through the second half, and I think it gave them a little life since we hadn't iced the game by that point. And by the end, we were just scrambling to try to put one away, and so I was a little nervous. We gave up a corner with about 4.5 minutes left. I was like, if they score a goal in this corner and we lose 2-1, what an unfair representation of how the game's gone. But Lindenwood stuck together. They defended like a team, and they made it hard for us. So, in the grand scheme of things, I think it all balanced itself out. But it was a much harder fight than we expected once the game got rolling. Once we got the tempo, we were around their box for probably more than most games we've been in so far. We just really struggled to find a way to score a goal. I turned around on Sunday, and we knew Truman was going to be a good side. We get a goal early, which was always a nice way to start. Turn around, build from there, and a little while later they get a goal, and we're playing Hannah Verdinsky in goal for that game, and she's a freshman goalkeeper. She does fairly well, and the second goal that we give up really had nothing to do with our goalkeeping issues. It just was a matter of good slop ball, maybe a little sloppy marking on our part, but that's what they're trying to do. And then we get a good break at the end of the first half with Rachel Gleason getting a goal off a long ball, just played into the box and just kind of fell favorably for us. So we go to half 2-2 with number 23 in the country, and we're still not playing that well. But we're playing very hard and we're playing tough. And so, anyways, get to the second half, early in the second half, they get a corner kick goal, and now we really have a problem. Now we've got to chase the game a little bit. Truman did a great job to get numbers behind the ball. Any kind of a long ball was kind of taken out. They get another goal a little bit later on, midway through the second half, and we still have plenty of time to come back. But it was just one of those scenarios where it wasn't as if they were peppering our goal and our goalkeepers having to make save after save after save, nor were we doing the same to them. It puts us in that capacity where in the middle third, where most of the game was played, they really shined. I thought they were a good team. I don't think it was a team that we have to be scared to play again. But in the grand scheme of things, they were a good side. We competed well. We've got to clean up some of our ability to combine passes and complete passes, and if we do, I think that puts us back in the driver's seat of that game.
Now, you're 6-1 on the season with a 2-1 record in the new conference, the MIAA. One thing I want to ask you about that Truman game. Yes, you guys suffered your first loss of the season, and you said you're not a stats guy, but you look at it, you say number 23 in the country, one of the best teams in the conference, and you had equal shots. You both had 17, and that's a pretty good indicator of, if one team outshoots another team by 10, 15, then they probably had more possession and they probably out. But 17-17, I mean, that's got to be something to take away from that game.
It's funny. I left that game and I was furious on Friday night. I was as mad as I've been in a while after a win. And so we go to Sunday and we didn't get the result for the first time all season, and that's got its own sting to it in itself. But I felt like the girls played hard. I thought we made some good adjustments from where we were on Friday. But no, as you watched film, which was yesterday for us being Monday, it put us in a point where when you're seeing it in slow motion and that type of stuff, we were closer than it seemed perhaps in live speed of one more pass, a little more discipline defensively, maybe a couple of breaks that bounce our way, and all of a sudden they're chasing the game on our end at 2-1. But anyways, that happens for us. We're a very young team. I mean, everybody from the back line is brand new to each other, and obviously we're trying to replace what Rachel was bringing to the table for us as a front runner in an injury, and as we kind of get some players back this week from health, that ought to really give us some depth up top that we were really missing some. We had some kids playing out of position and things like that to try to offset some of that shortcoming in players, but we look like we're almost back to normal for next weekend.
For those who weren't in attendance in the Lindenwood game, what is it like to get a game-winning goal with 49 seconds to go? And then talk about Lizzie's goal. She scored the game winner. It was a fantastic shot by her with a great pass. So take us through that.
Right. So again, we've been all over them for 89 minutes. And, their goalkeeper chose to roll a ball out with about a minute and a half. Probably less than that. Probably about 55 seconds left in the game, which is probably a bad choice on her part. But to be fair, their goalkeeper kept them in it. She played really well all night. We picked off the roll and then swung across the field. We gave it to a senior, Hisa Turner, ends up with it inside the box. He's a really unselfish player. Probably at times she should look to shoot more. She slots a ball, and none of these balls are just really crisp or anything like that. They're just we're finding open people in the box, and we're just pushing balls towards the goal, and we just slide it under. I was as frustrated as I've been in a while in that scenario. So when we scored the goal, I was ready to get out of there. It was one of those scenarios where we had some recruits on campus. We were going to go grab dinner, and we were going to need to put a smile on our face. But in the grand scheme of things, I think our girls got into the clubhouse after that match, and they knew they underachieved, and they knew that they're a better team and can play a better brand of soccer than that. But again, give Lindenwood tons of credit for really making it tough for us. They clogged everything up in the middle. The goalkeeper made saves when she needed to make saves, and it became a pretty stressful environment. It was exciting to see the goal go in. I was thankful we didn't have to go to overtime, because at that point it's golden goal and anything can happen.
Looking ahead this weekend, you travel to Maryville, Missouri and St. Joe's, Missouri to play Northwest Missouri State and Missouri Western State. Tell us a little bit about those two teams.
Well, we went to Northwest Missouri a couple of years ago, and I'm assuming not a whole lot's changed. It was a pretty windy day when we were there 2 years ago. But their surface we're going to have to adjust to their surface, and it's one of those scenarios where when you play a turf team, you think, all right, the game's really, really fast. Northwest Missouri, they play in about 3.5-inch tall grass, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like the front yard of your dreams, but it is a very, very slow surface. I would like to think that our team is a fairly fast team. So we're going to have to adapt and adjust to that. I'm expecting, that's going to be a tough game. Both of those games this weekend would be difficult to predict the winner. But I think if we go in and fix the things that we need to fix and adjust what we need to adjust on, we obviously are trying to figure out a couple of people as we get to the middle part of the season, as we're dealing with some injuries. As we get through that, we should be at a point where we're getting closer to finding our identity again. And pulling that off, if we can adjust to the surface and get some breaks, we should be in good shape on both of those games.
All right, Coach. Like we mentioned, 6-1 on the year, having a fantastic year so far. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chase Wooten, women's soccer.